G'day guys, today's video we're going to do some work on my motorbike. I'm going to put some new lights onto it, and I've got a dash cam system with a camera front and back, so I'm going to put that on there. So that's going to mean taking the motorbike down to, taking all the panels off it, all the fairings and boxes and framework and bits and pieces, so I can get access to run all the wiring. Should be all right. It'll take a little while, might not get it finished today, but I'll see how I go. I'm by no means an auto sparky, so look, it just means that these jobs take longer. Instead of it taking me a couple of hours, it'll take me half a day to get it to a point where I'm happy with it. But that's all right. I'm down with that. There's already a set of driving lights on there. These Light Force 2 LED lights. I think they're a 20-watt light all up. They're pretty good as a small spotlight, but they're just not throwing enough light for my liking. So, I guess as much as anything today is about just having a crack, just give things a go, take it apart, see how you go. What's the worst that can happen, right? So that's what we're going to do. I've fitted those lights on there and they work fine. So we'll go through it, and I've got a Hex Easy Can fitted to the bike, which is like a CAN bus piggyback system. It takes over from the fuses and things. It integrates quite nicely, so it's basically just connecting to that now. I've already run the wiring for the driving lights. I may have to change the plugs out, and I've got a new tail light to put on as well, which will flash when I brake, just to give me a bit of added visibility. But yeah, the dash cam should be pretty good. So I've got to figure out where I'm going to mount the cameras, how to route the wiring, where the little control box goes. So I'll show you that stuff now, and yeah, then we'll get into it. Okay, so this is the cameras. It's by Vsysto, so this came off AliExpress. It wasn't a cheap system, but the cameras should be of good high quality. They've got Sony lenses in them. The rear camera is specially designed for low light conditions. They've got like a fisheye lens as well, so they capture a lot of data. And it'll write constantly to the box here. It's got a little screen so you can see what's going on, but I don't really want to mount that up on top. It's supposed to be waterproof, but I'll probably put it under the seat somewhere, just so it's out of the way. Once it's set up, I don't need to see the screen. So that's the camera, and then these are the new upgraded lights. They're Baja Designs Squadron Pros. Again, they're not cheap, but I have tried to go the cheap route with the lights previously, and it just wasn't up to the task. So if it stops me from hitting a single kangaroo one morning, then it's money well spent. And look, to be honest, you can never have too much light. So that's what we've got to fit. So yeah, let's get into it. I'll set the camera up on a bit of a time lapse because it takes a while to strip the bike down. But I have learned that it's well worth the time. You just get so much more room when you're working in amongst the panels and things. The bike's already got the factory fog lights on it, which really don't do much. They're quite good as a visibility light, but as far as throwing light down the road, they do almost nothing. It's got this Light Force 6-inch LED bar on it, which again is pretty good, but it's only a 6-inch bar. It has its limitations, and I really want to throw a lot of light down the road. I'm particularly concerned about the shoulders. Kangaroos and things. We live in the bush, and they're just everywhere in the mornings and in the evenings. So hopefully, I can get enough light on the front of the bike that I can ride with a bit more confidence and see them. I've had plenty of scares where they just come out of nowhere at me. So that's the plan today. Going to have to strip the whole bike down to do that. So all the panel work, all of these fairings and things, these all have to come off. This tank cover has to come off. These fairings down the side, they all have to come off. Seats, the pannier luggage racks and you know, the boxes themselves, and this. So there's racks down the side that the panniers lock onto, and then there's this actual main rack under here, and then you can just see under here this plastic cover that also has to come off. It's a bit of a rigmarole. There's the beak and these little air deflectors, they also need to come off, so that I can get better access, because all the wiring runs through and, you know, up underneath, runs along the chassis rails. You know, I want to keep it out of the way and keep it fairly factory, so that's the goal. Yeah, last time I pulled it all apart, you know, I put a power socket in down here and ran the wiring for the lights and put a sort of a fuse box in it. It's so that's what I'm connecting to. So anyway, look, I'll get started and I'll come back to you when I come up with anything interesting. So I just want to show you the hex easy can, which is what everything wires into. So it just lives down under the seat here, and it basically plugs directly into the computer on the bike and piggybacks the signal off that. So at the moment, that's what all the lights and things are controlled by, and you can plug into the computer on that, and you can basically tell it how bright you want your driving lights to be, you know, under what conditions you want them to turn on. It's got 4 circuits, I think it is. So at the moment it's got one for the LED light bar, one for the driving lights. I'm running a high power circuit for that up to this power socket here, so I can draw 20 amps out of that power socket if I need to. So if I want to run a compressor or anything like that, I can't run 20 amps out of that power socket at the same time as I'm running the driving lights and things, but you know, that's okay. It has like a limit per circuit, and then an overall limit that the EasyCam can handle. I think it's something like 25 amps all up. Yeah, so look, I've got one of these is this one here, which is not actually connected yet. I've already run the wires back for the brake light, but everything feeds down there. And can you see? Yes, you can. So there's a grommet that I've just drilled through the side of the little box there. Everything feeds through there, and it just comes out behind the fluid reservoir, and then everything runs up the chassis frame rails. So look, everything sort of from here forward will come off for access, and I think in this particular instance everything from here back can probably stay. It doesn't make a huge difference, but you know, look, every screw you don't have to take out is a bonus. So I'll just disconnect the battery before I get too far into it, and then yeah, we'll start taking all of these panels off. As far as taking these panels off, look, it's not rocket science. It's just, you pretty much start at the top. You know, there's screws for each one. Start with that panel, then I'll probably take that one off. Once this one's come off, you can take this one off. You can take this one here off. Once all of those are off, you can get in here, lift the fuel cap. There's some screws in here. You can take the fuel cap off. Then you can lift this fuel tank cover off. This is just a decorative piece. And once you get to that point, then you can access the screws for the fuel tank down under here, loosen them up. There's some plugs and things and hoses to remove, and then the whole fuel tank comes off. The fuel tank's probably the biggest pain, and I think it's actually full. Last time I had a bit more forethought, and I made sure that I ran the tank fairly dry, so it didn't weigh as much. But you know, this time it's going to be quite heavy, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Righto, I'll carry on. Righto guys, I'm just going to bring you in here for a minute. Just a bit of a tip. To get the tank shroud off, you have to take out these 4 screws in here. Before you do, just plug the tank up. You know, if you drop something in there, it's a pain in the ass. So that's a pro tip for you. And I guess the other one is there's a lot of different size screws involved in this, so I tend to, as I take them out, wherever possible, I put them back in. Partly it stops me from losing them, but also, you know, because they're not all the same lengths, it just helps me keep track of it. Just about ready to take the tank off now. Those side panels are all off, both sides. So to take the tank off, pretty much there's these plugs in here. These all just pop off, and there's one on the other side in there. That one there, again, it just pops off. They don't leak. There'll be a tiny little seepage, but that's all. I've just got to disconnect this this vent hose here, and there's another one which is actually underneath on this side here, which I can get to when the tank comes back a little bit. And then, so there's a, can we see? Yep, so there's this screw in here and one on this other side. This one here, they come out, and then the whole tank just kind of pulls back, and then I'll just sit it on the ground. Like I said, it's going to be pretty heavy. I think it's probably got about, oh, it won't be too bad, it's probably got about 20 litres of fuel in it at the moment, maybe a little bit more. Righto, onward and upward. So at this point, I'm not actually sure, I can't remember. To get to this hose, which is that little hose in there, there is a quick disconnect, but I think from memory that it's behind the air intake. So I think I actually need to take the air intake out before I can get that hose. That's sort of the only tricky thing at this point. So I just got to lift the tank up and just sit it on here, and then I can slide the air intake out and get that hose out. Okay, so that just pulls off. Disconnected all the pipes and connectors in the top. Take the little wedge out, and then the tank should just come back. There we go. Voila. So that is the guts of the machine. And this is just, so previously wiring has run up through here for the lights, so pretty much I'll continue that. There's some plugs underneath, you can just see up under here, these are the plugs for the old lights, so different lights, different plugs, so that's why I'm not sure whether I'm going to change the plugs out or change out the wiring, but anyway, we'll go from here. So just changing over the plugs here. On the old lights, the wiring harness had these connectors, and the new lights have these. I don't know what they're called, but the new harness comes with some spares, so cut the old one off, and I'm just wiring this one on. Best practice is to solder. I don't actually know that these connectors need to be soldered, but you know, for the sake of a couple of minutes, I'll just give them a little dab. Can't do them any harm. Well, hopefully can't do them any harm. So once that's in, I'll take the old lights off. They're basically just sitting loose now. They're not connected. The plugs are just in here. So I'll take these off and mount the other lights up, and yeah, we'll go from there. The sockets together now. I just put a little dab of solder onto each of those just to hold them. Like I say, I don't know if it's necessary, but it can't do any harm. And just to add a bit of mechanical strength, I'm just going to put these couple of layers of heat shrink, one on the inside here and a stronger one on the outside, and that'll just hold everything together and give it a bit of mechanical grip. So I'll hit that with the heat gun, and then we'll start putting the lights in. Using a heat gun, just go easy. You know, they can be pretty fierce. You don't want to melt it all, just want to shrink that up, which is fine. That's done enough. Okay, so now I'll put the lights and actually mount them up. Right, so I've got one of the lights mounted up for now, so that's pretty much how it's going to sit. Just doing the other one now. I just want to make a quick note about the mounting bracket. So this bracket here that runs underneath is the Denali Universal light bar mount. For this particular series of BMWs, so it's supposed to fit, and I mean it does fit. I don't know if you can see up under here. Yeah, so look, this is the bar runs through, and it's just got some U clamps that go over the frame here to hold it, and it works okay. It's definitely solid, and there's nothing wrong with it from that perspective, but as you can see, it's very bloody short. You know, there's no, look, I don't know what the Denali lights look like. Maybe they've got some sort of an offset bracket on them, but there's no bloody way you're going to get a light on there with, you know, there's just zero clearance between, you know, the edge of the bike and that. So I just had a bit of bar stock lying around that I knocked these little extensions up with. They're, you know, they're okay for what I need. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the Denali thing. You know, it wasn't cheap, and it's a bit disappointing the way it fits. But you know, if you're going to put one on, just sort of be prepared that if you're going to get all the stuff, you're going to need a little bit of extra just to make it work. I think that's the annoying thing. You know, you order all the stuff and then it gets there, and then you know you've still got to go out and get more stuff if you haven't got something lying around. So anyway, we'll put the other light on and see how it looks. Okay, so those are mounted up. They're looking pretty good. There's a lot of spare cable under here. I'm just going to tuck it and cable tie it, I think, up in here. I could cut the cables down and re-terminate the plugs, but it's a lot of work, and I don't really know that it's warranted, to be honest. And I'm not actually sure how to take those plugs apart. I probably could, but I might cock it up. So for now, you know, the extra cable won't do any harm. You know, like I say, I'll just make sure it's firmly cable tied out of the way. So that's the lights, and now I can sort of get into the camera and start looking at, you know, where that's going to mount and how it's all going to sit. So it'll take a little while just to figure it all out, and then, you know, get it done. Okay, so the next cab off the rank is a new brake light. Obviously there's the factory brake light, there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to put one on and take advantage of the Hex EasyCan. It has a flashing brake light function which this stock bike doesn't have. So I've bought, just on eBay, I just bought this LED red light. It's incredibly bright. I've tested it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the reflector off, and I'm going to mount it in there. And I've already, you can see the wire tucked in there. I've already run that back from the Hex, so I just need to connect it up, and should be good to go. There are some legal ramifications removing the rear reflector, but my top boxes and side cases all have reflective tape on them, so I think probably it meets the standard. And look, if I have any dramas, to be honest, I'll just relocate it, and I'll put one down the bottom of the number plate or something like that. Anyway, I'll get on with this and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so that's on there for now. That's wired in. It's just sitting there at this point. I'm going to just hold that on with some industrial double-sided Velcro, you know, like the super sticky Velcro, and that'll be fine for that. Yeah, that's pretty good. And that's going to be it for tonight. Tomorrow I'll come back out and carry on with the camera install, getting all that sorted out. But for now, these chickens are starting to gather around and demand my attention, so I'll put them away before you know, they start to panic. Righto, so that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow and we'll finish it up. Righto, so back out here today to finish up the install on the camera for the motorbike. Weather's a bit foul today. It's not raining, but you know, it's pretty cold out here, but try and get it done as quick as I can. Okay, so I thought I was going to get away with not taking the back off, but of course I've got to run the wires for the camera. So all of this is now off. You will have seen that on the time lapse. It's pretty time consuming getting all that off and back on again, but you know, look, it has to be done. It's just a bit of a rigmarole because of all the luggage racks and things. If I didn't have the luggage racks on, it wouldn't take very long. But there it is. So I've found a spot for one camera under here. It's just a nice little flat for it to sit on, just under there. So that, you know, I'll adjust that up, and then I'm just going to run the cabling. I'm going to run it up here somewhere, and maybe down this side, and into here, which is where the screen will sit. There's a GPS unit with this as well, so that's mounted up under here, just under the windscreen. So I'll have to run all this cabling back down the chassis. The front camera is going to sit up under here. The camera's quite light. This is a little bit flimsy, but you know, I think with the weight of the camera it'll be okay. And then there's also a power switch, which is going to mount up here somewhere on the handlebars. And again, that'll have to run back down along the chassis and into here. And I think probably I will drill another grommet either in the side here or underneath. I've got some little rubber grommets, so I'll put one of those in just to run the cabling through and keep it all reasonably waterproof. So that'll take a little while. Cable tie everything up with 1,000 cable ties to keep it tidy, and then, you know, put the whole thing back together again. It's certainly pretty naked at the moment. Alright, so look, we'll just go, you know, back to the time-lapse video as I plug through this, and anything interesting comes up, I'll come and get you. Righto, so cameras are installed. Back one's in here, and then the front one's tucked up under there. GPS is where I was going to mount it, up on the front and behind there. So it's just double-sided tape, and then this is the remote. So I've just, again, it's just taped onto the front here. It'll be good enough. I don't really imagine I'm going to use the remote very much. So everything's basically wired down through the chassis here. Comes under, and then I don't think we can see. No, look, there's a grommet that I've drilled through here. You probably see it from the top. Try a bit of light. Yeah. Yep, so that grommet there, all the wiring comes up, and got the power box and the controller. So I just got the battery connected at the moment and doing a dry run. You can see the screen works. So that's the front camera, and then you can put up a split screen arrangement. Don't know why that's flickering. But the actual feed, that's the back camera. So the actual feed is working okay. It just seems to be playing up a bit with the split screen. So I'm going to have a little play with the cameras and just see what's going on with that. And see if I can realign them. They're not quite rotated right at the moment. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Look, it's been a bit of a rigmarole. 1,000 cable ties later, but we're getting there. I think one of the problems, possibly, it says that the cable has to run straight out of the back of the camera for, like 10 centimeters. That's going to be pretty hard to achieve with either one. So yeah, hopefully that's not the issue, because that's going to be pretty hard to resolve. Anyway, I'll get on with some testing and see how it goes. Okay, well, it's getting pretty dark and I've had enough for today. So where we're at, I've got the back button back up, which is always a bit of a rigmarole. Everything's basically installed, tested. I've aligned the cameras. They look like they're going pretty good. So now the tank's on, but it's not secured yet, and that's going to be, there's a little trick to that. So I'll tackle that one tomorrow in the daylight, get it all finished up, and then we'll do some testing. Righto, so see you tomorrow. Okay, welcome back everyone. So today we're just going to put the last of the fairings and panels back on the bike, the body panels. All the rear passenger rack and things is all done, or the luggage rack. The tank is going back on now. And normally the tank can be a bit of a problem getting these screws in to actually line up. Last time I did it, I had to wrap a ratchet strap around and actually pull the tank forward to get it to line up, but I've just given it a quick go and it's just gone straight in there today, so that's a win. So I'm just going to carry on. I'll get the tank put on properly, and then I'll just work my way through all the panels, and then we'll go and do some testing later on today. But yeah, it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so that took about 10 minutes just to get that side back on. So that's the tank. These 4 screws in here. There's 2 screws down under here that you can't see, which are for the tank cover, one on either side. And then this cover goes on. This one just pushes on, and then there's 3 screws on this one here. And that's it. That's the panel work for that side. So I've just got to do the same on the other side, and then I'll reconnect the battery and I'll just test everything again, make sure it's all good. But that should be pretty good. Righto. Okay, so that's everything back together. Battery is connected. No warnings there that shouldn't be there. And I can see from the little screen there that the cameras are fired up, and I can cycle from front to rear. And it's got a little picture-in-picture, which is of no real use to me. It's good. So I know that that's getting power, and I've got to put an SD card in there. But once I do that, I know that that will be working. So let's just fire it up, and we'll check the lights. Okay, so all standard lights are working. That light bar runs at about 10% on low beam, and then we go to high beam. We did have lights for a moment, but now we don't have lights. Okay, that's not a good start. If I had to guess, I would say I need to reset the amperage. I had the circuit on the little what is it, the easy can. Yeah, I had the amperage on that set for the smaller lights, so I suspect it's blown its internal fuse. That's okay, it's supposed to do that. It's got an electronic fuse in it. As I say, I had it set for the lower draw of those smaller lights, to cover those and pretty much no more. Obviously these lights are twice the power, so I'll have to actually log, like I'll have to connect the bike to the laptop and reset the fuse rating. But if we just, I can see that they actually work, so that's good. And to be honest, resetting the fuse is a pretty minor thing to do. Yep, so that's all that is. That's good. I'm pretty happy. Everything's working. That's really, oh, one more thing to check is the brake light. So I'll just set the other camera up because I won't actually be able to see if that's working. And I believe I can change the pattern that it flashes at, and I think the way it's set up, I'll have to check the documentation, but I'm pretty sure that it will also use the accelerometer on board the bike, and if I decelerate heavily it will also flash. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, just a couple of things to put back on, just the number plate and the seats, and the boxes are an easy fix, so happy days. I'll add to this video some footage of the dash cams and see how they come out, and I'll probably try and get some night footage with the lights from the dash cam just to see how that compares. But all in all, that was pretty good. Shouldn't have taken that long, but you know, look, I just tend to plug away at these things. Like I say, I'm no auto sparky, and I'm pretty happy to accept the delay in time. So you know, I just satisfaction of having done it myself. I know all the wiring is good. I know everything is routed correctly. You know, there's no shortcuts taken. So for me, you know, that's worth it. I've done the same on the four-wheel drive, and you know, it's never let me down as far as, you know, failed connections and things like that go. All right, happy days. Okay, guys. So once I got everything buttoned back up and got the seat on and got all the boxes back on and got everything squared away, I took it for a bit of a test ride out on the local roads. It's pitch black when I went out, and there's no street lights out where I am, so you get a pretty good indication of what the lights do and what you can see with the cameras. The poor old Star-Vis lens on the rear struggles a bit out here. You can see it up in the top left there. There's not much for it to see in the dark, but with all the lights on the bike going, it's pretty good out the front. I can really see what's going on. Lights up the shoulders really well. There's really good distance to throw down the road. I can see that kangaroo clearly come across there. You know, and that's what I wanted them for. There's just no telling when the kangaroos are going to jump out. And this is the cameras in bright daylight, you know, clear blue skies, middle of the day. You know, the rear camera's got a bit of schmutz on it, I think, but you know, the picture's pretty good. I bought the dash cams really to use as a dash cam, and they just run in the background, and if somebody cuts me off or whatever, I've got the footage there as evidence. But you know, I'm pretty impressed. I'll put details down the bottom for links for the, you know, where you can get the cameras and stuff if you're interested. And yeah, look, thanks for watching. As always, stay safe, give things a go, and I'll see you next time.